What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about the career mode in ESports Boxing Club. Now, more specifically, we're going to talk about the training and what you guys prefer. I want this video to be one big conversation, so feel free to comment as many times as possible. At every point I bring up, feel free to do a new comment, feel free to write one big paragraph. I will try my best to reply to most, if not all, of the comments on this video. Now, the biggest point of training your fighter in a career mode is to improve their stats. So really the point is, what do you guys prefer and which method do you guys prefer to do it? Now, obviously, Ash spoke about in one of the gameplays that ESBC are away from minigames. That was mentioned during the corner.
So we've done away with minigames in ESBC. This corner scene is still very early in terms of what's going to be shown.
I assume that would be the getting up minigame as well as the corner minigame. I don't know if that's confirmed or not. That was just my hunch, really, because, well, they have mentioned they're not a big fan on minigames anyways. However, when it comes to training, is that a minigame or is that part of the experience of the career? Or could you argue that a get up minigame is part of the experience of the fight? It's hard to kind of weigh out the pros and cons. Now, obviously, you could have mini games like this, like these ones from Fight Night Round 3 as well as 2004 that I'll show you throughout me talking here. You've obviously got you know, heavy bags, as well as, you know, on the little bob dummy things in Fight Night Round 3. Fight Night Champion had some head movement ones, as well as obviously pretty much every fight night in UFC having sparring. It's very, you know, repetitive stuff like that. The most unique one, in my opinion, was Fight Night 2004's on the pads of your trainer. Admittedly, it was one punch at a time, and your trainer would go left hook, right hook, left straight, you know, right straight, or jab or whatever, jab, straight, body hook, right body hook, you know, left uppercut, right uppercut. It was things like that. So it was a bit basic. And then obviously, you know, you're not going to have it go, you know, all right, combination, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, you know, 3, 2, step back, 2. You know, you're not going to have that, obviously, with a game that old. But the pads were the most trainer-orientated one, in my opinion. In Fight Night Round 3, it was just your trainer yelling at you. UFC 4, even, the most up-to-date fighting game, was the same. It was just not unique, but it was repetitive training games, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, boxing. And while the first playthrough, it's awesome. You're on the heavy bag, you're like, whoa, I'm really training properly this time. It wasn't enjoyable to play, and also it wasn't needed. I have done a couple of careers on easy and normal without training, and you actually can win every single fight because the game is relatively easy until you put it up to legendary. So do we go with lots of games like in UFC 4 and run the risk of it becoming repetitive and the career not being replayable, or do you go a path like UFC 3 that's boring and you didn't feel any attachment to your trainer or your fighter, but it was just clicking to improve stats, and the only thing you ever done was learn moves, which was like land 15 punches without missing 10 in 30 seconds or something like that to unlock the level 3 left hook, the straight, the Superman punch, and some perks or whatever it may be. And then you obviously had sparring, like I said, which all games have. But while that gave me the option to play through the UFC 3 career a lot more than the UFC 4 career, because I spent most of my time just fighting, because I was just pressing buttons to level my character up, which is cool. Like I said, I felt no attachment to the fighter. I didn't really... Sounds stupid, but you almost want to see your fighter succeed. I didn't really care. I was just like, cool, I'll just quickly spend 30 seconds training him quickly, then fight it. I didn't feel any attachment. There was no attachment to the trainer. They tried in UFC 4, and like I've said before, old cargo trousers John over there was fucking stupid. He was the worst written character of all time. It was so dumb. But then it was, like I said, in all the games you have sparring. However, one thing I'd like to see in ESports Boxing Club, we'll get more into ESports Boxing Club now that you guys have seen the variety of what I only recorded a few things from UFC 3, Fight Night 2004 and Fight Night Round 3. One thing I'd like to see is when it comes to sparring in ESports Boxing Club, that's been in every game, that's cool. I wouldn't call that a minigame, that's fighting one round. I'm okay with that. But what I'd love to be able to see and be able to do is spar multiple rounds. So, as if I'm actually in camp. I know it's like, well, you know, some people may say, well, Study, to be honest, I don't want to spar 12 rounds to then fight a 12-round fight. I appreciate that. Maybe it's a choice. But for me, I'd like to be able to get in there with head guards, the groin guards, you know, maybe bigger padded gloves, 3-minute rounds, 30-second rest, so your character becomes worse, you know, he becomes exhausted quicker, 30-second rest, and, you know, and you just go to war with, you know, another fighter. Let's say you're in the heavyweight division, and you go and spar with Tyson Fury. You know, you're a young buck. You know, you're 4-0. Tyson Fury is, you know, the WBC champion, or he's unified the division. He's still fighting, for example, let's say in the career, and he's just binging you with shots. But at least you get that experience of what that higher level is like. But you can spar 6 to 12 rounds with him, but maybe you'll win rounds 8 and 9. You'll be like, okay, what worked for me against a bigger opponent? How did I get and win those rounds? Okay, I got his timing, I used my head movement, I was able to land some good body shots. Maybe if he wasn't wearing headgear and groin gear, you know, big, you know, padded sparring gear, maybe when I caught him across the chin, that may have dropped a lesser opponent that didn't have a head guard on. So I think that would be good to test your fighter's conditioning. And if you get dropped in sparring, so be it. It doesn't matter because you're in sparring, you know. Like, I think that for me would be more interesting. Now, when it comes to these mini games, I don't know how they're going to do it. I would like to have rounds on the bag, my trainer be a bit more involved in my fighter's career. You know, he maybe not maybe talks to me, because, you know, it's not like I'm not bothered about a story mode, but maybe just the trainer, I don't know, send you an email, send you a text of some things, and, you know, for example, Fight Night Round 3 had weightlifting, as I've shown you guys, and I'll probably show you guys again. It had the weightlifting one where you'd grung biceps. There was no squats or lunges or nothing, or, you know, there was no ab exercises. But for example, where has that gone? I would like to see weight training. I'd like to see actually my character do it. You know, I don't know, chin-ups, bicep curls, squats, lunges, running, cardio conditioning, you know, on the treadmill, on the assault bike, things like that really, you know, test your fighter's conditioning, test your fighter's strength, get your strength up, get your conditioning up. Now, while other than sparring, I think we can call everything a mini game. Other than UFC 3s where you just press, like, yeah, I'll do this today, I'll do this today, I'll do that today, you know, whatever. I think we could categorize everything as a mini game. You know, doing rounds on the bag is a mini game because I'm not boxing somebody, I'm boxing a heavy bag. The speedball, you could say, is a mini game. You could say weightlifting is a mini game. Now, whether or not we try to just push the boundaries a bit and say they're not mini games are things like, you know, hit the bag, you know, with a jab, bing, and then jab, body, bing, bing, and then it says jab, body hook, jab, bing, bing, bing. You know, maybe you get to choose your own combinations and see what works on the bag as that, so it's more training orientated and it's more your choice. For me, a mini game is always something that is scored. That's the way they've done it. It's always scored. Maybe if you do rounds on the heavy bag, you just do what you want. You use your footwork. Your coach might say, listen, fella, you know, you got caught in that last fight, we need to work on this footwork. So when you're in the heavy bag, or when you're shadow boxing around the ring, you can just move. You just move freely, you know, you do whatever feels right. If you just want to go and fucking throw 500 hooks on the heavy bag, so be it. But I don't know, for me a mini game is something that is scored, and if I were to just not be scored on anything, I'm okay with that. I don't need that validation of, well done, you got 16,000 points. Like, I don't really care about that kind of mini game scoring system. I'm quite happy to it be all stat based and just say this is going to gradually work on your fighter's conditioning, your fighter's strength, you know, and then if you want to work on specific punches, you know, maybe you do some pad work with your trainer where it's just a lot of snappy jabs, you know, setting things up with that jab constantly. I don't know, that's just the way I'm thinking. It's tough because I know they don't want to just be a mini game simulator like Fight Night, but how do you feel connected to your trainer? I know your trainers have stats as well as your promoters and your cutmen, obviously, but how do you feel attached to your trainer? How do you feel attached to your fighter if you're just doing what UFC 3 done and you're just pressing a bunch of options? But then how do you not become repetitive and boring like UFC 4 with just the same mini games over and over again? One thing to add is Fight Night 2004, you didn't actually choose it. You would select training, and the game would randomly select one of 5 things, whether that be sparring, pads, heavy bag, the head movement bag where the bag goes wing and you go wing, wing, you know, like that shit. That's how that done it. So that wasn't really too boring because I didn't get to choose. I was always like, oh, what am I going to get today? And sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to do the heavy bag because that one is boring. But then you get the pads and you're like, it's kind of unique, and it is unique looking back on it, but it is like one punch at a time is kind of boring. But can a game really do a coaching that has that big, you know, when the coach has the big bodyguard on and the pads, can the game really do a coach where he calls out combinations? And if you, I mean, you know, if some of us are quick on the controllers, you know, like bing, 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 you know, you jab straight hook, and you go big, big, bing, is the coach, is the trainer going to be able to, you know, jab, you know, or sorry, jab, straight, and then set that hook up really quick for your glove to connect with it. Or maybe you'll go with the body hook and the pattern will be there. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts, guys. I just wanted to talk to you guys about this. I'm a big career mode nerd. I think things like the cutmen, the trainers, the promoters is fucking dope the way they've done it. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure whatever they've got in mind, they will smash. I don't know. I just thought it would be cool to talk about. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you as always, Fortune. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. What was your favourite training in career when it comes to a video game, like a fighting video game? I'm sure a lot of people say Fight Night Champion. Now, if you've only played Fight Night Champion, I would appreciate not saying Fight Night Champion. I feel like you need to have an opinion, because I've obviously done them all from 2004 to Champion, as well as UFC Undisputed 09 all the way to UFC 4. So I have that wide variety of choice. But I don't know. You guys love to let me know what you think in the comments down below. And yeah, thank you as always for watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.